Some people obviously behave in ways that are pretty frightening. People that we call criminals. They steal, they rape. What if we're around people who do behave this way, that we find very frightening? How do we change these individuals, or get them to change? Well, here is where we really need to learn restorative justice. We need to learn not to punish people when they behave in ways we don't like. As I've earlier said, punishment is a losing game. We want people to change behavior, not because they're going to be punished if they continue. We want them to change the behavior because they see other options that better meet their needs at less cost. So, for example, when I'm working in prisons, you see, I use this same principle. If somebody's doing something I don't like, I try to begin with empathic connection, with what needs of theirs are they trying to meet by doing what they're doing. And once I've understood that, then I suggest looking for other ways of meeting their needs, more effective and less costly. I was in a prison in the United States, state of Washington, and working with a young man who had third time in prison for sexually molesting children. And I wanted to start by empathically connecting to what was alive in him when he was doing this to children. And I suggested that I would like to understand better what was going on in him when he did it, and would he tell me what needs he was trying to meet by doing this? And he looked stunned when I asked him that question. He says, "What are you asking for?" I said, "I'm sure you do it for good reason. This is your third time in prison for this offense. And I don't have to tell you that sex offenders in prison, it's not a fun life." "No, you're darn right it is." "Yeah. So obviously, if you are going to do this and have to pay so much for it, it must be meeting some needs of yours. Let's identify those needs, because I believe that once we understand those needs, we'll be able to find another way of meeting the needs, more effective and less costly. So what are your needs?" He said, "Are you saying it was right to do what I did?" "No," I said, "I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying you did it for the same reason I do everything I do, to meet needs. So what are your needs being met by doing this?" He said, "I do it because I'm dirt." Now you're thinking of what you are. How long have you thought you were dirt? He said, "My whole life." I said, "Has it stopped you from doing this?" "No." So I don't think judging yourself is going to meet your needs or the needs of people in your community. But I think everybody's needs can get met if we start by understanding what needs of yours are being met by doing this. Now, he required some help on my part because he wasn't trained to think of what his needs were. He had been in prisons and schools and other things in a family that had made him feel like dirt. He had been educated to think of what he was, not what his needs were. We found many needs. Let me just give you a couple of them to give you an example of what goes on inside of a person. First, he took these children into his apartment and treated them very well. He showed them television programs they liked. He gave them foods they liked. And I said, "What need of yours is met when you do that?" It turned out that this man had always been very lonely. He had never had his need for community met, connection, companionship. This was the best way he had ever found to bring these children in, treat them well. He met that need. But of course he could have met that need without sexually molesting them. So then we turned to what need of yours was being met by that? And when we got to it, it took a while because this was not easy to look inside and see. He realized that his need of doing that was for understanding, empathy. From the terror in their eyes, he felt they understood what he felt when he was a child and his father did this to him. See, he didn't realize that was his need. He didn't know other ways of meeting that need. But once we got it clear, obviously there are many other ways to get that need met than to tyrannize people. So that's how we use nonviolent communication with people who are behaving in ways we don't like. I first start by empathically connecting to what needs of theirs are being met by doing it. And then I let them know that what need of mine is not being met by how they're doing that. the fear that I feel by how they behave, or the discomfort I feel. And we explore other ways of meeting both of our needs that are more effective and less costly. So there we've seen how nonviolent communication helps us to bring about change within ourselves, change with other people, but it requires this need consciousness. It requires an awareness that all blame, all judgments, like I'm dirt, like I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict, these self-judgments get in the way of learning. Makes it hard to learn more effective ways of living at less cost.